too long, hasn't it? It has been too long, and hopefully I'm in the shot. If not, I'm going to sit down on this table, which isn't too hard to do, being I'm not a very tall guy. Metal Mike coming at you, the picker, antique dealer, scrapper, whatever the hell you want to call me. I'm all of that and more. And I want to get back to the videos. I've taken a long break. A long, long break. It's been too long, and I actually missed it. The thing is I had done so many videos, and I had been up for my own TV show, and I had done this and that. I just burnt out on it from trying to experiment with going out and shooting with gags. I decided I'm going to just take it back to the roots. I've been thinking about it, and I got my flip camera back today from gags. So this is the first video of an installment that will never end of picking, junk and antiques, getting out there, garage sales, estate sales, finding it, one way or another, word of mouth. So, where do we start? What do I always do? I ramble and I shoot from the hip, and that's what I'm doing today. And I want to give you a better video. I'm going to give you more videos, better videos, and I'm just glad to be back. So let's try to wind myself down here for a second and get back to what I want to talk about. What have I been up to? Nothing's changed. I've been out picking. Though, I guess the one thing that has changed definitely is I just don't go out in the alleys no more. Sometimes I do, but very rarely. I might get out there once every 6 months. But I don't want to discourage the guys out there that are just starting out picking and scrapping. Remember, all this inventory, all my little empire that I have was built by driving the alleys, old school style, Sanford and Son. You say, what is Sanford and Son? Well, it's a show from the 1970s, basically. A father and a son. It's a comedy, Red Fox. Check it out. It's all over YouTube, I'm sure. And it's a guy who gets in the truck and he just goes out and he drives the alleys in the streets of California looking for what people put by the curb. And I want to tell you guys that as much as I go out and I hit, you know, I don't go to the mainstream estate sales. I don't go to the ones where you stand in line and get a ticket. I've always just gotten out and drive. And what you're hoping for is you're hoping for the little old lady or man that walks down to the corner and sticks the sign in there. You don't want it that it's been listed on Craigslist. You don't need all that. You want to do it old school and go with your gut. Go to the parts of town that you know very well, maybe where you grow up, where you have memories, you know little turns, you know all your way around. Also little parts of town that you see. You want just streets that run north and south, east and west. You don't want a lot of breaks and turning. You want alleys that stretch forever, so when you come to the end of it, you can turn around and loop back and come back the same direction, and so on and so forth. But why do I mention that? The alleys. Well, gosh, I tell you what, I hit garage sales now, like I always have, and I do sometimes get lucky and go to the estate sale where they have gone down to the corner and put the sign in there. But the treasures that I have pulled out of the dumpsters over the years, I can't touch them. And when I say I can't touch them, I mean I can chase around through ads and trying to meet people and word of mouth, but the true treasures that I have found in my, geez, 15, 16 years doing this professionally, we're in the dumpster. We're next to the garbage can. And you say, well, what the hell? You know, I don't want to dig through a garbage can. A lot of the time, it's sitting right next to the garbage can. Or it's hanging out of the top. A dumpster. Things you want to stay away from if you're going to do dumpster diving is if you see a dumpster that's in a yard, up on, let's say, the front yard, you want to assess the situation. Is the house vacant? You know, did the people die and they just threw everything out? Then you're safe to go in there unless they have a no trespassing sign. Then stay the hell out of there. I never had any problems. But what I would do is I would always knock on the door, and 9 times out of 10 I would catch the owners and I would say, hey, can I dig in the dumpster? I'll put everything back exactly how I found it, and if anything, I'm going to make more space for you so you can throw more crap out, which will save you money. You want to try to offer them something. And then you also want to mention to them that when you're done, go around the dumpster and pick things up and throw them into the garbage can. Maybe it isn't even something that you dumped in. Maybe some other guy went in there and pulled something out and dropped something on the ground. But you have to remember, everyone's watching you. All the neighbors, the owners. So you want to be courteous and you want to show respect. And another thing, it's how you dress. How I'm dressed right now, this is not picking wear. How I would dress in the picking wear, I would wear a hard hat, gloves, a Dickies black work shirt long, and Dickies matching pants, and a good pair of work boots with a steel toe. And you want to probably find something where you can't get punctured through the bottom with a nail if you're going to jump in and out of dumpsters. You get in the dumpster. Where do you start? The dumpster's filled to the rim. Well, I've given this advice before, and I'll give it again. You start in the corner, and what you do is you basically dig a hole to the bottom so you can slide your body down, whoop, and you're in the corner. Now, you should be facing, you're in the dumpster, and you should be facing the length of it. And then you fill behind you. Now, you're going to come across all kinds of situations. You're going to find situations where the stuff is just piled in there, and there's going to be other times where everything is in a box. My advice to you, what I always did, is I just took the whole frickin' box. You can sit there all day. You're going to miss something. You're going to waste too much time. Take the whole box, and that makes it more fun. You just keep loading it up like that. Get all those boxes in your truck. Then go home, and then you can sort it later. And that's where the real fun begins. Remember, when people are cleaning out an estate, a lot of the time, old men and women in the old days, from old sewing stands to a junk drawer, they would fill them with stuff. Now, when people are cleaning out an estate, families and such, I've seen this time and time again, they'll maybe go through a junk drawer, but they say the hell with it. There's too much. The house is full. It's like this garage. So they take the drawer and they dump it in a box and it goes in the dumpster. You take that whole box. You're going to find coins in there, keys, war medals, jewelry, cufflinks, wedding rings. You name it. It's going to be in there because that's how people kept things in the old days. They didn't put them in a jewelry box. They didn't keep everything nice. Now, you say, well, Mike, if that's where all the treasure is, why the hell aren't you out in the alleys? Well, what pushed me out, and I'm going to be totally blunt with you, is just I don't have time to deal with the bullshit anymore. You say, well, what's the bullshit? Are you too good for it? No, I'm not too good for it. What has happened is depending on where you live, like if I do want to go dumpster diving, I go over to St. Paul. Because St. Paul people are a little bit more lax over there. I live in Columbia Heights, and you do not want to be climbing in and out of dumpsters in Columbia Heights. Yuppies have infiltrated this area. And with your Facebooks, they've got all these watch pages. They don't understand what a picker does. They think you're a thief. They think you're stealing recyclables. They think you're making a mess. And there are guys that are out there doing it and ruining it for us. That's why the best thing to do, if you do see a dumpster, is get a hold of the owners. Leave a note. Leave a calling card on the door. Come back. You will catch them. Usually you'll notice a dumpster before it's even filled up. You might find one that's partially filled up, and then you know they're coming back. So you're going to keep watching that house, watching them until you can catch them. And then you just want to approach them, ask kindly. If they seem a little hesitant, you can even throw some money in on the deal. You can say, hey, I'll give you $100 if I can take whatever I want. And a lot of the times what the response will be that I heard over the years was, there's nothing in there. It's all junk. You have to convince them that I know it's junk to you, but this is how I put food on the table. You really have to break it down for them because what they see in there is junk. They don't think that you want that old clock from the 1800s because it's broken. But you do want that clock from the 1800s. It's broken. So you're going to make the effort to do it. Last tip. I went to a garage sale just this past week, and there was nothing there. So I went through the whole spiel. Hey, do you got any old things? You got any heavy metal records? Any rock and roll t-shirts? Any old toys? They all looked me cold in the eye. Nope, don't have nothing, don't have nothing. So I said to the guy, as I'm walking away, I didn't say anything to the guy. I'm slow myself down. As I'm walking away, I'm thinking, you know, I got to do the legwork. Let's go and get this guy a flyer. I've got a flyer printed up. And basically just has a list of everything that I'm looking for. It has my number, email address on there. I went and I got that and I gave it to the guy. I said, here, throw it in your junk drawer. Keep it there. Call me in a day, a year, 10 years, whatever. I'll always be at this number. And then I fell back into my spiel, my speech again. I was just like, remember, the game has changed. I was like, it's not all about the antiques anymore. It can be broken, missing pieces. That clicked for some reason with the guy, that sentence. And he says, oh, I've got a broken toy truck. I said, awesome, go get it. He brought it up, and what he brought up was a Tonka farm truck that was not broken. It's minty, and let's see if we can get a zoom in on it. We'll break up this film and get back to my horrible camera work, but I think I should show it to you. And I got it for 12 bucks. It's beautiful. It's got all tubs on it, on its tires, all its tires. It's complete, all the windows, everything. I think the only thing that might be missing is that door there on the gate. So, picking. I've rambled a bit here, but that's because I guess I'm shooting off the hip. I haven't been filming in a while. But heck, I wanted to touch on those things. Get out in those damn dumpsters, man. You say, well, why are you pushing for it when you should be doing it yourself? Well, sometimes I do. And like I said, I go over to St. Paul where I grew up, where it's a little bit more lax. Where I live over here in Columbia Heights, it's a little snooty, little yuppie-ish. You got a lot of young people moving in, and boy, I just, you know, you can't put them down enough. They just don't know what the hell they're talking about. For instance, when I used to go drive in the alleys, this was, you know, some years ago, I would always see this little man. I believe he was Mexican, but I guess it doesn't matter what he was. He was a man. He was a little guy, too. Hell, I'm a little guy. I'm 5'7", but he was really short. He might have been 4'9" or something. But I would drive, in those days, I would drive the alleys 7 days a week. Every freaking day I would hit these alleys. I had a route, is what we'll call it. And I would pass this man. And what he would do is he would go out and get aluminum cans. And he had these big, giant plastic bags over his shoulders. And every time I would see him, you know, I wouldn't say anything to him, but I just thought, man, talk about working hard for pennies. This guy was out there busting it, causing nobody harm. Well, a couple years later, I bumped into an old woman in an alley who was in her yard. Whenever you see someone in their yard, you want to stop and give them a flyer. Number one, it helps. They know who you are. They know what you're doing. And it might be a lead later for you to get some cool treasure. So I gave her my flyer and kind of went back and forth a little bit. And she goes, you know, there's a lady that is in this area that got a man arrested. Well, there was a woman that decided she was going to police the neighborhood. And she got that little man arrested and took his livelihood away from him. Now you say, well, oh, he's a derelict. He's walking, he's grabbing cans. Really? Is he hurting anyone? Is that really what we've come down to? So, off my soapbox, that's what can detour you real quick. But I tell you what, if you're in the inner city, you're not going to have those problems. If you're on the outskirts into the suburbs, you're going to have yuppie issues. Inner city, as long as you're respecting people and the laws, which is huge, man. Huge respect for people. If there's something that's questionable by a garbage can, or maybe someone just left it there, you leave it. There's plenty more. You don't need anything. There's so much out there. You should never have to take anything from anyone to achieve what you're after. And that's just simply finding antiques. It's karma, brother, and it's going to come back and bite you hard. Let's get out there. Let's get picking. I was out this morning, and I did the legwork, and I got a whole box of racetrack and slot cars all for $5, so it's still out there. Don't let all these naysayers, I'm going to continue to slam you guys out there that say, oh, it ain't out there, you're not going to find it, it's rare. Oh, hell. It's out there, brother. All the treasure is out there. It's everywhere. Get out there. And it's simply just taking that extra time and mentioning to people at garage sales when you go to them that they don't have nothing. It's surprising how many garage sales you go to where they have absolutely stuff that should literally be in the garbage can. You question them a little bit, and they'll all of a sudden they have this stash of stuff that should be in the sale that isn't. And that's what you're after. You're going to get those treasures, man. So, maybe I hit on something there for all the naysayers out there. Hey now! Metal Mike coming at ya! As I fall over, that's what you get for wearing slippers in a garage full of junk.